Council-in-Committee meeting together. And I'm Judy Villeneuve. I'm the acting mayor, so I'll be chairing the meeting. We have two delegations, and our first delegation, and I want to welcome Luella Vincent, who used to be a member of the Social Policy Advisory Committee. It's so nice to see you. And Jeannie. And so we're looking forward to your presentation, and Tom. Thank you. Go ahead.
So good evening, Her Worship Linda Hepner and Acting Mayor Linda. You got me screwed up.
Oh, that's okay. You can just relax.
And Council. Tom Weeb from Cupidel Local 402 and myself, Luella Vincent from HU, are very pleased to be speaking to you about the day of mourning for the workers killed and injured on the job, and we're going to share back and forth.
Sure.
Okay? So I'll start. Each year, the New Westminster and District Labour Council presents to municipal councils within our region to seek their support and recognition of April 28th as the day of mourning for workers killed and injured on the job. The Labour Council's presentation is designed to be educational and informative, and we believe that workplace health and safety is everyone's responsibility. What is the role of local governments or school boards in addressing these issues? Throughout history, the labour movement and local governments have been instrumental in making change that has helped to improve lives and to shape safer and healthier communities. Together, it is the action of local citizens and their local governments that have led to significant changes in society. Unions have made an enormous contribution to the health and safety of their members and to advocate for legislative changes that benefit all working people in British Columbia.
Many unions have dedicated staff that develop and coordinate health and safety education and provide advocacy services for their members. Their role is to provide up-to-date information, membership training, research, and to represent their members during a workplace accident investigation or claim. Throughout the frontline experience and expertise, unions collaborate to inform and lobby for legislative change that protects all working people in British Columbia. Toxic Free Canada, for example, worked with the Canadian Union of Public Employees to develop an action plan for using toxic-free cleaning products in BC schools, thereby protecting the health of working people, children, and our environment. Initiatives such as this have been adopted in other notable workplaces such as hospitals, healthcare facilities. Together with other organizations, unions are dedicated to making workplace health and safety a priority. Since 2003, the BC Federation of Labour, our provincial central labour organization, has operated BC Fed Health and Safety Centre. Workplace BC funds the centre to train workers and workplace representatives so that they can act with competency when it comes to legal rights and responsibilities. The Workers' Compensation Occupational Health and Safety regulations require training mandatory workplace health and safety committees. Employers are required to be proactive in preventing accidents and injury through training and education initiatives. Training programs delivered by the Federation Health and Safety Centre are an integral part of delivering programs throughout BC that meet the mandatory requirement.
The Centre has evolved into a Centre of Excellence for Occupational Health and Safety Training in British Columbia. The Centre's programming is open to everyone, regardless of their current work status, including students. The program and courses help to remove traditional barriers to health and safety education, with workshop courses for occupational health and safety committees, young workers, immigrant workers, including English as a second language programs, and migrant workers. The Centre has helped thousands of individuals, organizations, and companies learn through a participatory learning module. Participants learn how to exercise their rights and the role and responsibility of workers, management, and employers. Children as young as 12 years old, permitted to work under BC's Employment Standards Act, are particularly vulnerable and consistently have a higher than average injury rate. Given this reality in BC, the Federation offers a training workshop that is specifically designed for young workers. To organize a workshop in your community or school, go to their website at www.healthandsafetybc.ca. Websites. Workplace deaths are an unacceptable consequence of going to work, yet in British Columbia last year, 203 workers did not come home from work. The WC reports that 173 worker deaths occurred in 2014. However, this represents only the number of claims adjudicated by WCB. Canada has the worst record of workplace fatalities in the developed world, with over 1,000 worker deaths every year. Last year, we spoke about 2 workplace explosions, one in January 2012 and another 3 months later. The Babine sawmill and the Prince George Lakeland sawmill were both the result of wood dust fueled explosion and fire. 4 workers were killed and 44 others were seriously injured. Hundreds more family members in the community suffer the emotional scars in the aftermath of this horrific event.
WorkSafe BC declared these workplace explosions preventable, but no one has been charged with criminal negligence. Here is what the United Steelworkers has stated in their call for an immediate public inquiry following the indefinite adjournment of the coroner's inquest 2 months ago. Premier Christy Clark decided against a public inquiry, preferring instead a coroner's inquest. But the coroner's inquest is a disaster. The former head of WorkSafe BC declined to testify and answer questions. WorkSafe BC also turned down access to a private investigation by one of the mill's owners, and they did not tell an ongoing inquest about the existence of these extensive hidden evidence. The coroner's inquest promptly adjourned indefinitely because, as explained by the lead government lawyer, it will take weeks to review the new evidence and arrange for new witnesses to testify. We created the petition because the public deserves full facts in this case, and their families deserve answers, not a cover-up. We ask each and every one who is here tonight or watching from home to please go to website www.usw.ca and sign petition demanding provincial government call an immediate public inquiry. 41 years ago, following the Elliott Lake disaster, legislation followed that stated every worker in Canada has the right to refuse, participate, and to know the hazard in their workplace. 20 years ago, following the Westray mine disaster in Nova Scotia, it would take another 10 years to see the amendments to the Criminal Code of Canada that would hold corporations, their directors and executives criminally accountable for the health and safety of the workers. Police and prosecutors are not enforcing the Westray amendments and not investigating workplace fatalities through the lens of criminal accountability.
To date, not one employer has been charged under that provision. The United Steelworkers Union renewed their Westray campaign in 2014, calling on provincial and territorial governments, specifically the Attorney General and Labour Minister, to direct and enable Crown attorneys and police to stop the killing, enforce the law. The campaign petition is also available online at www.usw.ca. Imagine a member of your family dies in a work-related accident and you learn that the employer ignored the regulatory responsibilities and provided no training. Now imagine how you feel when you learn this employer is fined $3,250 for their negligence in the death of your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, your aunt, your uncle. On April 28th, we meet the families and workers who continue to fight for justice. We remember the workers who have died or whose lives have been forever changed by a workplace accident or disease. We share the family's sorrow and recommit ourselves to fight for every worker. Please take just 1 minute of your time to make a difference. Go online to www.usw.ca and sign the Westray petition and the petition demanding that Premier Christy Clark call for a public inquiry into the Babine and Lakeland sawmill explosions. On Tuesday, April 28th at 5 p.m., please join the BC Federation of Labour and the 2 Lower Mainland Labour Councils at the Vancouver Art Gallery to commemorate the day of mourning for workers killed and injured on the job. Respectfully presented on behalf of the New West and District Labour Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do council members have any questions or comments? Mayor Hepner?
Thank you. Just a quick comment. Thank you very much for your presentation. We will be making a proclamation this evening and also be participating in the QP402 service in the morning. So I appreciate you being here this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your delegation. So we have our second delegation now, the Surrey Poverty Coalition, and I believe that we have a presentation by Steve Dooley, who's one of the co-chairs. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. I think I know everybody on the Council. I'm Steve Dooley, Executive Director of SFU Surrey. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Surrey Poverty Reduction Coalition, which I co-chair along with Councillor Villeneuve. But before I get started, I do want to acknowledge the great relationship between SFU and the City of Surrey. I don't know how many times I'll get a chance to be up here, so I want to take the moment to say that. I see it as a very strong relationship that just keeps getting stronger. And Mayor Hepner, I want to thank you for your acknowledgement of SFU's 50th anniversary during your remarks at Party for the Planet. It was much appreciated. So the Surrey Poverty Reduction Plan, in 2012, a community-based partnership group developed the poverty plan, and it was adopted by Council in July 2012. And I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to provide you with a brief overview of some of the actions that have been implemented since the plan was adopted. So, an obvious question is, why should we care about poverty? Well, Surrey's poverty rate is about 16%, which is similar to the Metro Vancouver average. Poverty, however, is concentrated in neighbourhoods and among some population groups. Of particular concern is child poverty in Surrey. There's about 20,000 children and youth who are growing up in poverty in Surrey. This is more children than anywhere else in the province. So this slide is a map of Metro Vancouver. The dark spots are census tracts with 400 or more children and youth in poverty. You can see that of the 20 such neighbourhoods in Metro Vancouver, 11 of them are in Surrey. Now let me try and give a face to the stats. A couple of months ago, I met a woman from Burma. She was a grandmother. She came to Surrey as a refugee with her daughter and her daughter's 5 children. Less than a year later, her daughter had committed suicide. Now, Grandma, with no language skills, no opportunities for work, is raising 5 children, the oldest of whom is about 14. That speaks to the complexity of poverty and as it relates to issues around refugee issues as well. So, as mentioned, the Poverty Reduction Plan was adopted by Mayor and Council in 2012. The plan has 75 recommendations that are focused in 4 areas: transportation, housing, income, and support. A key feature of the plan is it identifies who is responsible for each recommendation. Is it federal, provincial, municipal, or is it community at large? Now, we all know that the local plan will not eliminate poverty. That is not the design of our plan. But at the local level, we can advocate and we can develop and implement innovative pilot approaches that, if successful, could be scaled up to other organizations and other communities. Now, the coalition itself, our job is to implement the Poverty Reduction Plan, which is called the Transportation, Housing, Income, and Support. You can see that it includes a wide sectoral representation. There's 20 different leaders, including the business community, and a couple of the members of the coalition are over here. You can give a little wave if you like. So it's a deep kind of group that is overseeing the implementation of the plan. Now, at the Evolution of Communities Forum that we had the other day, a great event hosted by the City of Surrey, there was a lot of talk about the importance of big data and being evidence-based. Well, I'm here to tell you that our plan is evidence-based. Our actions that are proposed are evidence-based. We have produced user-friendly fact sheets that highlight the data on transportation, housing, and support. And we have also mapped poverty by census tracts. And we know that these fact sheets are very, very important in terms of being able to use them for advocacy work. And we know that some local agencies are using the data from the fact sheets for funding applications. So they're really being used by the community to bring more resources to the issue here in Surrey. And I just want to talk about some of the things we've actually been doing. One of the things we do is convene the community. We've held 3 different community forums. Our most recent forum is called Collective Impact, which is an emerging approach to tackling complex social issues such as poverty. And we brought Donna Jean Forster from the Tamarack Institute in Ontario, who's the keynote speaker. And the coalition has started to plan our next steps for following up on the ideas that emerged at the forum. And for me, as co-chair of the committee, these community forums are really important for getting me going, re-energized to the importance of this work and hearing from community members that keep telling us it's important work for us to be leading. I'm also very excited to tell you about some of the pilot projects we have. One of them is called Community Leaders Igniting Change, CLIC for short. It's inspired by a Neighbourhood Leadership Institute in Hamilton. It involves SFU's Surrey's Beatty School of Business, and we've developed a 12-week free education program for Surrey residents interested in making positive changes in their neighbourhood. Right now we have 18 students enrolled in the pilot. The program is running from February to May, and after the course is finished, we follow up the students for about a year to make sure that the projects that they develop in the course actually grow seeds in the communities with which they're working. An example of that is one of the students is really interested in a beautification project for her apartment building to kind of to make it look better, and is looking at developing a project with the other people who live in that apartment building as a part of her program. Another pilot project is the Landlord Project. The goal of this project is to find private landlords who are willing to rent apartments to people transitioning out of homelessness. And this is related to the Housing First strategy. We've held a breakfast meeting last year where we talked with landlords. We're planning another event for here at City Hall in May. Now, these events are an opportunity to have an open dialogue with landlords about homelessness issues, about some of the perceptions of people who live in homelessness, and how landlords can benefit from being part of the solution in terms of rent opportunities. The program, as it goes forward, rent is guaranteed even if the suite is not occupied. Non-profit organizations cover any damage costs, and the non-profit works with the clients should there be any problems in the site. Another project that I'm very, very proud of is the Somali Women's Project. This project resulted from a delegation to the SPAC, which I'm a part of in 2013. I was amazed by the strength and courage of 3 Somali women who came with staff from the Surrey School District to ask for the city's help. That's why they came to SPAC. The Somali women attending the school district's ESL classes were desperate to be engaged in paid work, but they faced many, many multiple barriers. Using a community economic development approach, this project is working with a group of Somali women to develop their skills, their confidence that will enable them to move towards their dream of paid work. And we just found out that the project has received new funding from Van City Credit Union, which will keep it going for another year. Advocacy. One of the things that we do as a coalition is work with the SPAC on advocacy related to the federal government's refugee transportation loan. The City of Surrey, as you know, is the largest recipient of government-assisted refugees arriving in BC, and the federal government's requirement for them to pay their transportation costs to Canada and pre-entry medical costs with interest further impoverishes these poorest of the poor families. And currently we are circulating a petition that has nearly 1,000 signatories. We've also looked at evaluating what we've been doing, and working with Kwantlen faculty member, a good friend of mine, Dr. Natalie Gagnon, we've developed what's called the ripple effect evaluation. The ripple effect is a mind mapping technique used to assess both intended and unintended impacts of programs. The impact of the Surrey Poverty Plan has been categorized into 3 themes: knowledge sharing, partnerships, and new initiatives. And just very quickly, I can give you an example of how the ripple has worked. PCRS, through the leadership of Michelle Saw, has built and opened Guildford House, which is a 6-bed house for youth transitioning to independence. And the development of that program kind of began with the table of getting involved with the coalition and the development of the implementation of the Poverty Reduction Plan. Now, I do want to close by acknowledging our supporters and funders. The implementation of the Poverty Reduction Plan would not have been possible. It is not possible without the generosity of funders and community agencies. And you can see that we've identified different categories, from those who have supported forums, to the research that we've been a number of us have been involved in, to different projects that we've developed, and to other groups as well. I think it's really important to recognize that community members, both people who are on the coalition itself, and funders and other organizations have really stepped up to help support the implementation of the plan. And a lot of their support, quite frankly, is in kind. Mm-hmm. They're doing it from the side of their desk, but we're getting a lot done. So, that's it. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Nice to see everyone, and nice to see everybody in the staff as well.
Thank you, Steve. I want to acknowledge Steve Dooley as well, because he was a member of the Social Policy Advisory Committee, then appointed Executive Director of SFU, and he has continued to attend every single meeting and play an active role in the coalition. I think that's really a sign of dedication, commitment, and I want to acknowledge that, Steve. Thank you. And thank you to our staff, Aileen, and the social policy staff, who do a great job supporting both committees. I appreciate that. And does Council have any questions? Mayor Hepner.
Thank you, and thanks for your presentation, Steve. It's always good to see you, and I know you've been a strong contributor to these projects under the Transportation, Housing, Income and Support Initiative. But do you see some overlap relative to some of the work that we may be also doing relative to social innovation?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a logical next step. So I'm really looking forward to helping develop the Social Innovation Forum. I think that the solutions around poverty definitely have create economic opportunities and require economic thought and ideas. So, for example, at SFU we have the program Radius that is all about developing radical ideas to make links between the business community around social issues. And I think that all too often, sometimes economic issues and social issues are siloed and not being put together. And I think that what's happening right now in the city of Surrey is awesome in terms of kind of bridging issues around innovation, social innovation, and economic development.
Oh, good, thank you, because that's rather where I saw it. I thought the sort of income and support piece of the poverty reduction marries up quite nicely with where we believe we're headed with our social innovation, and potential pilot projects are under that initiative this year. So
absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that the whole support side is there's a huge value of education there as well. So it's very important to organizations like KPU and SFU.
Thank you.
And we're very happy to have Councillor Vera Frank elected this year to continue the good work that she's been doing with this coalition and as part of the Social Innovation Initiative with the Council. So did you want to say something, Vera?
Thank you, and I'll just echo Councillor Villeneuve's sentiments and thank the staff. Marlis McCarger and Aileen Murphy have been amazing working on this. I also want to thank Councillor Villeneuve for her leadership. I know I've been involved, as is Steve, since the beginning, and to see how much we've been able to do over the past few years is amazing with the assistance of the city. I do think that an important point was made at the beginning of your statement, Steve, and that is that it's really not, we can't solve poverty as a municipality, that we need to look to senior levels of government for more leadership, perhaps a poverty reduction plan, both at the provincial and the federal level. So this is a way, I think this is important advocacy. I also see this as some of those pilot projects are just so amazing, and it's so wonderful to participate in them and to sort of show what can be done with a very small amount of money. But it serves very few people, and I think I use the word winning a poverty lottery when you get to access some of the supports and projects, and it needs to be broader. So I just want to thank everyone for all of the work that they're doing, and I'm very much looking forward to working with you all on the social innovation strategy in the summit. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. So if there's no further comments or questions, can I call for adjournment?
So moved.
Say all those in favor, opposed, carried.